views and opinions expressed do not necessarily reflect those of Access Fort Wayne, the Allen County Public Library, or any other supporting groups. If you'd like to produce a show, call us at 260-421-1250.
Hi, Dr. Rudy Kachmann. Welcome to the show. I have a wonderful guest with me today, Dr. Ahmed, who will speak today. He's a specialist in obesity, which is a lot related to type 2 diabetes, so he is a family doctor, but he specialized and was certified in obesity, which is the cause of maybe 75% of the type 2 diabetes. So I'm going to have him speak about this. And the first thing I'd like you to tell me about it is, what about the path to diabetes? When do you think the path starts, and what blood tests do you think people should get?
Okay. So most of all of you probably know that diabetes, we mean high blood sugar in the blood. So that's somewhat like a definition. If the blood sugar is fasting, that means 10 hours, if you don't eat anything, just drink water, you check the blood sugar. If it is more than 125, we can call that as diabetes, type 2 diabetes. So once we diagnose it, we ask ourselves that how far ahead this problem is started. So we find out now that there is cells called beta cell in the pancreas, in the tummy, which makes insulin. And problem starts 12 years before we diagnose diabetes. So what that means is that these cells, 50% lose their function when we find out that blood sugar is high and we tell them the diabetes. That 50% cell is already gone by the time that blood sugar goes up. If the blood sugar is borderline, it could be even 12 years ahead of the time, which is fasting sugar in between 100 to 125. If in that range, that could be a borderline diabetes or pre-diabetes. There is another test you want to remember is called A1C. What that tells you that what was your blood sugar last 3 months in average, and if it is less than 5.7, we're going to call it normal. If it's 6.5 or higher, we're going to call it diabetes. And if it is in between these two numbers, which is 5.7 and 6.5, then we're going to call it pre-diabetes. So the problem starts usually 12 years ago before we diagnose the diabetes. So there are a lot of ways you can prevent diabetes if we catch them early. If we find out that sugar is borderline, and invariably what we find out that these people also may have abdominal obesity, which is essentially excess amount of fat in the abdominal area. When there is excess amount of fat in the abdominal area in the body, two things happen. One is some of the fat cell may become sick fat. Remember that term, sick fat. So some of the fat becomes sick, and it can produce a lot of chemicals, inflammatory chemicals, which can lead to diabetes and heart disease and cholesterol problem, many other metabolic diseases. And if somebody has excess amount of fat, it can also cause fat mass disease. Just because of sheer mass of fat, it can contribute to arthritis, reflux disease, obstructive sleep apnea. Few of those will be because of excess amount of fat. So with this in mind, when you talk about diabetes, what you find out is that if we control the amount of fat, in other way, if you say if we lose 5 to 10% body weight, what happens, we can actually prevent diabetes. So there are a lot of ways you can actually lose weight. We can do a good diet, we can do a exercise, we can add some medicine sometime needed to find out a comfortable way that you become successful to lose weight and maintain it there. That should be the right treatment to prevent diabetes and other metabolic diseases.
Yeah, thank you very much. I mean, the point that we're both in agreement with is that if you can prevent it 10, 15 years before that, if you're gaining weight, for example, you may feel fine, nothing wrong with you, but if you get the proper blood test at this time, that we can say you're on the path to diabetes. I would love if we could design some software that would perhaps where you record your yearly blood testing, which I personally think is probably a bit different than most people recommend at this stage. But I recommend blood testing starting at age 1 or 2. Put it every year into a computer, and we can make it so that as it's changing towards diabetes, it can say turn red, a warning signal, or some rockets take off and tell us it's coming, it's coming. And if at that point you lose 8% of your body weight, even if that, exercise a little more, and 90% of the time your diabetes is goodbye. And I think we're also in agreement that there's about 70 illnesses, yes, associated with diabetes. Would you agree with it, Dr. Ahmed?
Yes.
Yeah, we 70, and what do they include? Memory loss, Alzheimer's disease. Yes, Alzheimer's disease is 75% avoidable. Yeah, cataracts, strokes, thyroid disease, vascular disease, gum disease, thyroid disease, unannounced heart attacks. Half the heart attacks that we have occur unannounced. No previous angina, no previous warning. We just grab our chest, fall over, and we're dead. Isn't that interesting? And I tell people many times there's a difference between angina warnings, suppose you get a warning, between men and women. In women, the symptoms can be any pain between the pubis and between the ears, maybe a little nausea with it, can be evidence of heart attack or angina, a warning that you're having a heart problem. Yeah. At any age. I saw it at age 35 not too many years ago. A lady came to see me as a neurosurgeon, pain down the shoulder and the right arm. You know what the answer was? Heart disease. Yeah. If that isn't something. So, I mean, what are we saying is that type 2 diabetes is avoidable majority of the time. You're reasonably normal weight, close to it, exercise a little bit. 25% of the people I would call the trophies, they're thin on the outside, but their fat is around their liver and in their organs, and they can have abnormal blood tests and have diabetes in spite of looking thin. Do you see that in your practice? Dr. Ahmed runs a practice at the Cooper Farms in Ohio, family practice, but specialized in obesity. How often do you see a healthy-looking person, but his blood work is way off? Do you see that often?
We are privileged to do yearly health fair for all our employees and their family members. So we have data for a whole group of people. So we check their body weight, then we check their height, then we find out what is their body mass index. So if somebody's body mass index is more than 30, that's the definition of obesity. If somebody is between 25 and 30, we'll call it overweight. If less than 25, we'll call it normal. So that is one way, starting off with that. Then we check their waist circumference, because this is really important, because if the waist is bigger than the hip, good chance that there is metabolic disease there. It could be diabetes, it could be some other condition. So waist measurement is important, as well as the hip measurement. In a man, we also check the chest circumference, because if the chest is smaller than the waist, there is a good chance that that person has metabolic disease. We also do routine fasting sugar. We check the lipid profile, so total cholesterol, HDL, LDL, and triglyceride. We also check their blood pressure. So we have all the component of metabolic syndrome in that yearly physical that a person is there for. We also check their smoking status. But that is for the people group that I'm taking care of. But as I'm talking with you, you may have done those. You need to put this together to do a risk assessment, we call it. And if you go to the internet, you'll find out something called Framingham score. So what that does, you enter your age, your good cholesterol, your total cholesterol, your body weight, and etc. These factors, and they'll give you a number, and that will tell you what is your risk for heart disease in next 10 years. So, for example, somebody's risk is less than 10%, say 9%. What that means is that there is a 9% chance that that person will have a heart attack in next 10 years. So if it is less than 10, we are going to call it a mild risk. 10 and 20%, we are going to say moderate, and more than 20, we are going to give high risk. So we categorize those people according to their data, and you can do that in your home also. You should have that numbers actually if you had some blood work done. With that, then you figure out which people really need quick help and which people need to reduce the risk. So every year when you are doing that, your goal will be reduce the risk to less than 1%. Everybody has a risk.
Yeah, that's it's called the Framingham Health Score. Is that
Yes, Framingham.
Framingham Health Score. That was a wonderful piece of advice.
Yeah.
You had recommended to me, which I think I may have read years before, but maybe from other books, a book called Breakthrough Your Set Point, an excellent book by George Blackburn. This is a standard of most obesity, overweight education, isn't it? Mm-hmm. So that's the reason I think I read it maybe 10 years ago. And if you could explain to us what do you mean by set point, and explain to me a little bit about this book.
Wonderful. Thank you. Dr. Blackburn from Harvard, we consider him as father of obesity medicine. So many years ago, he came up with this idea that we have a set point in our brain for energy metabolism, and the set point of energy in and energy out. Okay, the set point is somewhat regulated by brain. Brain regulates it. If set point goes up, we usually gain weight. If the set point goes down, we may lose weight. Okay. So now some people are born with set point right at the middle. It's not their credit, they are born like that. So those people, if they eat a lot of unhealthy food and don't do any exercise, they will not actually gain weight. It's not their credit. Their set point is right at the middle. On the other hand, there will be a group of people, little change in their lifestyle may get the set point up. So for example, especially the women, when they gain some weight during pregnancy, set point will go up. And what we find out that after the baby is delivered, it never come back to the original set point. It always is a little bit higher. It's like a staggering high. Every time they get pregnant, the set point will go up and up and up, and they will have a tendency to keep that body fat in their body. So on the other hand, other factors which can make the set point go up. For example, if I start to eat too much carbohydrate, or excess amount of calorie food, or I just could not do exercise because I had a surgery, or some medicine. So somebody gave me a Depo-Provera, and that will elevate the set point, and they will not have to do anything, they will gain weight. Or doctor gave me an antidepressant, like say Paxil or Trazodone or some other older antidepressant, and they will feel good, their depression will go better, but their set point go up and they will invariably gain weight. So there are many factors. For example, somebody is menopausal, set point automatically will go up and they will gain weight. Another factor that we find out is stress. If somebody is stressed, the set point goes up, they usually will gain weight. Another factor we see also that lack of sleep. So if somebody is working in the first shift and suddenly you switch them to third shift, and they will have lack of sleep, and that will lead the set point goes up. Okay. So now, when we are trying to help people lose weight, we are trying to reduce the set point. So all those factors that I told you that causes the set point go up, if you just reverse it, you are going to have lower the set point. So for example, somebody taking an antidepressant, which for example Paxil, will cause weight gain. On the other hand, if you put them on an antidepressant which is say Wellbutrin, which will actually make the set point goes down and they may lose weight. On the other hand, the low carbohydrate diet or low calorie diet, if you increase the physical activity or different factors of life, if you sleep good, you'll find out that set point, if your stress is reduced, the set point go down, and that will help you to lose weight. The amount of fat is regulated in our body. Our brain actually regulates how much fat we are going to have in our body. Brain really doesn't care about our body weight. Brain regulates the amount of fat. For brain, amount of fat is kind of like a bank balance, like a gas tank. It doesn't want to lose it. By evolution, brain will want a good amount of fat as a backup, thinking that there may be fasting coming, there may be no food, there may be winter coming. In that way, our body is regulated in a way that we want to keep that body. In women, this problem is worse because women are supposed to produce the babies. So baby need a lot of energy. So God made them in a way that they will have difficulty losing the fat compared to a man who is not producing baby. So now fat tissue secrete a hormone called leptin, and leptin tells the brain that how much fat I have. So brain is telling brain getting the information that if I have a lot of fat, a lot of energy sitting there in my system, leptin will tell the brain that yes, we have a lot of energy. Now, if there is no leptin in my blood, if I am born with no leptin, there are only 13 people in the world, they are born with a genetic problem that they don't make any leptin. So, no leptin means brain thinks this person is fasting. So, what that will do is, it will eat more, they will eat more, and they will not burn at all, and they will be 600, 700 pounds. And we have a test for that. If you can check it, what we find out is that if the leptin is not there at all, if you give them leptin injection, they don't have to do exercise. They'll lose weight because you're telling the brain, we have enough leptin, so let it go. So the fat will burn. Okay. Another hormone, couple of hormones, is important in the management of the fat tissue in our body. For example, something called ghrelin. It comes from the stomach. Ghrelin is somewhat like growling. It makes you hungry. So more ghrelin, more hunger. So when I'm eating or I'm thinking about eating, ghrelin goes up and tell the brain, go ahead, eat. So more ghrelin means you're going to eat more and then you're going to have more fat. On the other hand, after I eat, in the intestine there is a hormone called GLP-1 and another hormone called PYY. They'll tell the brain that stop eating, we have enough fuel, enough food. So if I have a lot of GLP-1, what will happen? I will not eat too much, I will be done quickly, and then that will affect the amount of fat in the body. So for example, if somebody has bariatric surgery, so they cut off the part of the stomach or a staple part of the stomach, what they did is they get rid of the ghrelin. So if there is no ghrelin, what will happen? Next day you are not going to be hungry. So it is not only the small golf ball size stomach causes you not to eat, it's actually the ghrelin. The ghrelin, if the ghrelin is not there, there is no hunger. Brain thinks you are satisfied. So now after about 6 months after the surgery, that little golf ball type, that stomach left, it start to make ghrelin. So people will start eating. They will find a way of eating. They will throw up, but still they will try to get the calorie in, and that because of the ghrelin. At any rate, so the hormone also affect how we eat and how we energy expenditure, that how much you're going to burn, and ultimately also affect that amount of fat we are going to have. So these, how much we eat and how much we exercise, this is not the only factor that deals with that set point. So now we know that yes, we need to understand how much we need. So if I'm chased by a tiger, yes, I need more energy, and that also has effect on the set point. What type of food I am eating, that has effect on the set point. How many fast food restaurants I have and how often I'm passing through will affect the set point. And muscle activity, how much exercise, physical activity I'm doing. We start to find out that gut bacteria also affect that set point. I mean, there, like doctor was saying, the trillions of bacteria is there. It has a relationship with us, that how much energy I'm going to eat, how much energy I'm going to burn. And environmental factor like fast food, sleep has big effect, stress has big effect. And nowadays we also find that exposure to light has some effect on the set point. For example, early morning you are doing a iPad or looking at the phone, is spending hours, that exposure to the back of the cell, the retinal cell, is going to affect your set point, and does affect your amount of tissue. And as well as the medication that we talked about, certain medicine will make you gain weight, certain medicine will make you lose weight. So this is a complex things, and everything when you see, for example, Fitbit is watching you, how many steps you do, how much you sleep, has some science behind it because of this set point. Because we are trying to figure out how we can get that set point in a favorable way for some individual who has problem.
Oh, very interesting, very thorough. Thank you very much. So we know, how to influence it, and it's not easy, but we have to have some knowledge of it, and we have that now. And I thank you very much. I'd like to read you a poem, a little poetry now, to help you memorize or summarize. I don't know if we'll get totally through it with the time left, but let's at least get started. It's on diabetes. So start spreading the news. I'm sick and tired of it. Diabetes is diabolical, crippling, deadly. I'm walking through the heart of it. I'll show you how to get rid of it. Get rid of it, get rid of it, get rid of it. Why? Get rid of it. Blindness, dementia, loss of speech, paralysis, loss of teeth, heart attacks and strokes, amputations, toes, feet, legs. Yes, renal and liver transplants, 30 years of disability, die 25 years too young if you don't get rid of your diabetes, okay? When you can do it 90% of the time. My BMI is sky high. Fly me to the moon. I might die. Wheat belly, beer belly, stress belly, pear shape, asheville shape. We all hate. It's the cause of it. Judgment-free zone. Our bodies are temples of the Holy Spirit. God gave us some responsibility for our body. He is within us. So how we treat it, someone's looking at it, okay? Respect your body, respect your body. Rudy's good news. It can be prevented, stopped, reversed, eradicate. Don't just medicate. Time is now. Prevention, proven, powerful, possible. Do it, do it, do it. Heart disease and strokes are no joke. Memory loss, dementia, Alzheimer's disease are no breeze. Dialysis, paralysis are no fun. Amputation, dislocation, and you're done. Get rid of it, get rid of it. Atherosclerosis, arteriosclerosis, 300,000 miles of capillaries and vessels circulating the blood and feeding the brain. Pump the blood, feed the brain, avoid the pain. Happiness and health, that's the new wealth. Avoid vascular disease, avoid vascular disease. Our body's on fire, destroying our health. 100 million people are pre-diabetic, most undiagnosed. Get tested. We're blind to it. It's an inflammatory nation. Sugar is a booger and a hooker. Okay. Sugar is a liponator. It makes us fat. 60 to 90,000 million people have fatty liver and they don't know it. Kidney and liver transplants are common in diabetes, all preventable. Don't eat it, don't eat it. Sugar is white, sweet, addictive, deadly. Sugar, sugar, I love you. Saccharine disease to please. Yudkin and Cleve, two authors, 1970s, said it was deadly in two books they wrote, but they were ignored. The fat theory of disease won out, a big mistake. Government, CDC, NIH, AHH, Ansel Keys promoted the fat theory of disease. All dead wrong. It killed a lot of people. Sugar, fructose, omega-6 fats are deadly, deadly, deadly. I don't think we'll be able to finish this whole spoken word, but if you can get a copy from me sometime. Thank you, Dr. Ahmed, for coming with me on this mission. It's a mission. It's a world epidemic. It's a U.S. epidemic. We're telling you, you can stop it, prevent it, reverse it 90% of the time. About a month. Your blood sugars will drop within a week if you eat right. 78% vegetables, maybe organic meat, 20% or so. Take a walk, sing a song, take up tap dancing like I do, or something of that nature, or tennis or pickleball, which I play, and just a walk, frankly, would do it. And you can get rid of this plague of insulin resistance and 70 illnesses attached to it. It is amazing that our public health is not really leading the way. I mean, it's a little bit disappointing because we can get rid of diseases. It's not pill to the ill. Sometimes you need the insulin, the pills, life-saving at times. But a lot of times it's lifestyle, isn't it? And you teach lifestyle at the Cooper Farms.
Yep.
And now, when you get the abnormal test, do you see the people back right away? Or
Oh, yeah.
So, and then you talk to them, try to get them to change.
I have to show them and teach them that what this means.
Yeah, they have to understand the meaning of it.
Yes.
Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening. I love what you're doing at the farm. That's the way medicine should be practiced. He's changing medical care. And watch our other shows, TV, radio. See me at the pharmacy, see us at the pharmacy for free talk on obesity or diabetes or addiction, preventing and getting rid of it. We love to talk to you. We do. And thanks so much for watching. Hope to see you again. The love of you is why you're here. Physician means teacher. We're being teachers. Thanks for watching.